Crazy entrepreneurial story for you guys today. Generating 8 figures a year. Dealt with an injury during the pandemic. Bedridden for 8 months. Founder of Kollar Clothing. Worn by Shawn Mendes, Ghana, Steph Curry, to name a few.
I started a mask company.
And you made 10 million there in
That was
revenue,
$10
right?
million, yeah. Growing up, I was really poor. So I was like, okay, how do I not be poor?
Jump into the injury you had.
My clothing was selling out everywhere. I felt like on top of the world. Sometimes you get so high, God or the universe sometimes push you back down. I couldn't feel both my arms. I couldn't walk or get up. My mind was foggy, like something was up. When you ask for something, God takes everything away until you learn the hard way. It damaged both your nerves in your hands and your spine. When can I start running and working out again? It's like, you might not be able to do that. I'm like, what? And I got really spiritual because when you're in that low in your life, you realize that nothing else really mattered in your life. I went up to this guy. I'm like, how do you make all this money? He's like, you can only make this much money when you're ready for it. When you're ready for $1 million, the lifestyle changes you've made, how you sleep, how you think, who you hang out with. Those are the things that make you ready to be a millionaire.
What's up, my people? Welcome back to the Price to Sell podcast. It's your host, the same guy as usual, Matthew Campoli. And I got another exciting one for you, of course, because that's what we do. We just do the exciting things. Before we get into the excitement, though, please do what you got to do. Subscribe to the show. Send it to your friends. Drop a comment. Drop a like. Show some love. Send me a message. I'm not getting a lot of messages now, and I'm lonely, so I need friends. So message me. Thanks. But we have a crazy entrepreneurial story for you guys today. We have a school dropout starting his business with only $500 to now generating 8 figures a year. A true entrepreneur that sees the opportunities as they arise and has been able to strike gold because of that. Had a concussion at the age of 22, lost his memory, dealt with an injury during the pandemic that had him in bedridden for 8 months, but here he is. Founder of Kollar Clothing, which has been worn by Shawn Mendes, Ghana, Steph Curry, to name a few. Has a six-pack all year round. I don't know how. We're going to find that out too. A very good friend of mine, and he can also speak to Mexican dogs, specifically, just Mexican dogs. We have Mr. David Kollar in the building. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
Thanks
that was
for coming.
a crazy introduction. Probably the best one I've had so far.
Really?
Never got the six-pack one, so I
Just make sure you
that.
let everyone else know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
you got you. Best show.
Well, we're actually rocking. He's obviously fully collared out today in Kollar Clothing. Yes. I'm rocking his unreleased
crochet resort shirt coming out in May or April, May.
And I know you don't want to give this to me after the pod, but I'm going to make sure I sweat in it.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to
just so I keep it.
I'm going to have to dry clean it now, bro.
Do I?
No.
I will. It's staying on me.
You sweat a lot or no?
Yeah, because I do a lot of cardio.
Oh, fair.
Yeah.
It is kind of hot in here still.
It is. But thanks for coming, man.
Yeah. Yo, thanks for having me, bro.
Of course. So let's, might be a different audience than you're used to, but let's give them a little quick intro. High level, who you are, what you do, and then we'll get into it.
Cool. Okay, so I started my career as a web designer and dropped out of school, like you mentioned earlier, because I got bored so quick.
At 16, right? Oh, no.
No, I dropped, no. So I went to 3 different high schools.
You started the business at 16?
No, I started my business. Actually, my first job was 16.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
I used to sell CDs, like burnt movies to kids in middle school and high school.
Hustler.
And then, started selling different things. And then from there, I worked 20 different jobs, hated each job. Each one lasted a week. So it was like Staples, Lacoste, Old Navy, security guard, Cinnabon, just everything.
Security guard, eh?
Security guard, bro.
You have to take people down?
Nah, I didn't have to. I got lucky that I didn't have
to.
But it's funny. The first job I got for security guard, it was through a company, and they put me into, it was a ghetto area in Scarborough. And I remember they gave me a shirt that's way too tight for me. And back then, everything loose was cooler, right? Mm-hmm. And I was wearing a really tight shirt. And I literally looked like some sort of like gay sailor.
Okay.
And no one took me serious.
Okay.
So I couldn't really take anyone down because I looked like a pretty boy with a really tight sailor shirt. So I left after a week of that. And then after
I wouldn't picture you. You're too like, you got the image, man.
Yeah.
To get rough, you know?
And then I was a balloon decorator for a bit in college. And then this is when I actually started my first business. I dropped out of college for HR and I did web design. And I did web design for a bit, and then I lost a lot of that money because the phone stopped ringing. It was like, okay. Then I moved over to fashion design, which I learned how to do on YouTube. And then I did my first trade show, I think it was 2014 or 2012, 2013, around there. and then got into some stores. After that happened, I realized like, okay, I'm gonna make mistakes and try to grow the brand. And then from there, I did the fashion brand. COVID happened. I started a mask company.
And you made 10 million there in
that
revenue,
was $10 million,
right?
yeah.
That's crazy.
Reusable mask called Plus Guardian.
Yeah.
And we found hacks to like hit up certain entities like Sobeys, TTC, stuff like that. And then we were able to sell it to them. And my strategy was once I get one guy, I could use that to bring the other guy on. So as soon as I got Sobeys, I'd be like, hey, listen, we sell to Sobeys. And TTC's like, oh, okay, I could trust this guy. Then I get those two, like go to City of Ottawa. Like we sell to TTC, huge entity in Toronto. And then I sold to Ottawa. And then we found ways to like promote ads for mask. We only showed the tip of the mask, not the whole thing. And then we ran ads for that. So
Smart.
so we did that.
Loopholes.
Yeah, exactly. And then and then after that, did a few drop shipping companies, like a workout one, hairbrush, certain things. So then after that, I realized like I'm not just a fashion designer. I'm able to create brands and like scale them. And so, but I do love clothing, and that's why I still do it to this day. So that's kind of like the background. Yeah,
you're an entrepreneur through and through.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, you've done, and like I mentioned in the intro, like you've found opportunities, and you got ahead of things. Yeah, and you took full advantage, like the COVID PPE game.
Yeah, exactly.
I tried that game too. It failed miserably.
Okay.
Yeah.
So hit me up, bro.
I know. I didn't know you then.
Yeah, you could have been focused on like realtors, bro. You never know.
You know what?
I swear, no, actually, real. I think houses weren't really selling during COVID.
I had a gap in time. That's why I was trying to sell masks and gloves.
Okay.
Yeah, I had some really big conversations.
Okay, we didn't know each other.
We didn't. Things that just never happened.
Maybe another COVID situation.
Another pandemic.
Yeah,
we'll see. But let's go into the come up stories a little bit. So in that moment when you had the $500 and like that's all you had to your name, right? How was that? Like what's going through your head? Like as an entrepreneur, a lot of people have this type of story where it's like the make or break.
Okay. Yeah,
so let's go back to that time.
Okay. So growing up, so I came from Slovakia to Canada when I was like 5 years old. So I was a straight up immigrant, broke, single mom. I came here with my dad. They got divorced. So she raised me, my sister, and we lived in like probably 14 different places. Some of them were like government housing. So we lived in like Chinatown. It was like near Regent Park, like different areas. Thorncliffe, I lived there. So I lived in all different types of areas. And growing up, I was really poor. So I was like, okay, how do I not be poor? Because I was just so used to being poor. And I was very like, I wasn't very confident in myself. And again, I only had like $500 to my name. I worked different jobs. So like the jobs I mentioned earlier, but I also tried everything to make money, but it just wasn't enough money to like pay rent and go out and do stuff. I didn't travel till I was like 23, 24.
Wow.
Yeah, because just didn't have any money. And so with the $500, basically what I did was, as a kid, I used to like playing video games with my cousin, like when I was like probably middle school. And during when we're playing games, we'd also learn how to like use Photoshop for fun and like just play with the computers. And then I learned how to like do web design. And basically, with the cash that I had, I was flipping clothing first. So basically what I did was, there was a brand called Nudies back then. And like BBC, through Pharrell, Billionaire Boys Club, and LRG. I don't know if you remember those brands.
I do.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So when it was just coming out, it was very hard to get. Not everyone knew where to get it, especially Billionaire Boys Club and Nudies. And so I'd wear this to school, and people were like, yo, where'd you get that? I'm like, oh, you can't get it here. You could have to go somewhere else for it. So then I would order these products from like...
So you created that limited supply.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
So that's how it started.
Yeah.
And then I took that and I brought it over to Canada, like sell it to people in high school. Then I made my own like company called Exclusive Locker, it was called. And it made a little bit of money, nothing crazy.
This is in high school?
In high school, yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. And then after that, I started my web design company. And here's the problem with a lot of entrepreneurs that I find, even myself when I started, is you're not willing to take, when you don't have a lot of money, you're scared to put money into ads. You're scared to put money into things because you don't have a lot of it, right? So for me, with that $500, I'm not gonna lie. People told me to at the time, I wasn't really familiar with Facebook ads. It was Kijiji ads, was cheaper, $100 a month. You can put some ads on Kijiji.
Mm.
But I wasn't even willing to take a risk there. I was too nervous. And I was just like trying to keep every dollar I can make because I was so broke. But basically, I met this guy when I was in college before I dropped out. He was a balloon decorating company called Balloon Celebrations. And we're driving the car. He was like, yeah, you got to start spending money to make more money, this and that. And I'm learning from this guy. Didn't really take him serious at the time, but then I started learning all these things. Like, listen, you need to advertise Kijiji. I'm like, nah, I don't have that money. And he's like, okay, I'm going to give you $100 to advertise. If you don't make that money, it's fine. If you make it, you pay me back. I'm like, all right, fine. So I put $100 down. Basically, I put the ad up, and the first 1 or 2 weeks, I didn't really get a ring. And
this is for what product?
This is a company called David Design, which is a web design company.
Okay, what's the type of ad you're running?
Oh, it's basically, I'll make you a website for $500.
Okay.
And I'll give you, and I was like, how do I make myself different for everyone else? I'm like, plus I'll build your Instagram and I'll pump in 2,000 followers for you at the time. Because people didn't know about the fake followers back then.
Yes.
Like now you can't do it because it's going to fuck up your account. But back then, all these new business, these mom and pop shops, they're like, what? 2,000 right away? And so I stole everyone's business. So I think in any business, you need to have some sort of leverage to beat the competition. And that's kind of my leverage back then. And then first 2 weeks, the phone didn't really ring for me. And then a couple days later, I was just like, I was into manifestations. I put a bunch of stuff on the wall. And then the phone started ringing. And then, I did $500 jobs. So I was like, oh shit, I could finish this in one day. So I'd stay up, finish the site. And I'd pretend I had a huge company behind me, but I didn't. It just me. Then I kept scaling it. And then 500 turned to 1,000. And then I met this guy who I did part-time work for a web design company called Atticus Wolf. And he was charging clients $100K for a website. I'm like, damn, how do I get to that? So I'm like, do you mind if I sit down with you and watch you talk to people and sign your contract?
How old are you at this time?
I think I'm like 21.
Good for you, man.
Yeah. So I'm following him, trying to see what he's doing. And while this was happening, I'm slowly, I remember I put my vision board, I want to make $100K, right? And I'm only used to making like $8 an hour, like just a little money here and there. And literally that year, that's why to this day, I always believe in manifestation because that 1 year changed my entire life. Like I got a car, I made $100K, all these things at 21. And to me, that was a huge accomplishment for like a broke, like
For
kid,
sure it is, man.
Yeah. So, when that happened, I just started doing that. And then I slowly transitioned to fashion after. But that's how I use the 500. I try to keep the cost super low, doing something that I know I can do or do well. Especially nowadays with TikTok and Instagram, there's no reason for anyone not to be able to make that much money. It's like I've scrolled through TikTok and Instagram. Like I didn't have that when I started. When I started, it was literally like Google with very minor information, and like YouTube might find 1 or 2 pieces of content. But now everything's out there, and now it's just about, are you lazy or are you not lazy?
In regards to the information you're getting and on how to do things.
Exactly, yeah.
Nice.
And if you just practice something, no matter what, you're gonna be the greatest at it. It just takes hours, yeah.
So let's jump to like the business of color. So obviously you found you're very opportunistic, right? So you found this gap in these mom and pop, accounts needing extra followers.
Right.
You're adding these value adds, right? Just like you talked about exactly. how to stand out. So now how did you apply this sort of mindset now with the business of collar? Because now you're competing in a landscape with all these other clothing brands.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So, and you took collar to, what was the amount? 8 figures a year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So how did you do that? How did you build that? How did you create that demand for collar clothing and replicate that same?
Okay. So for collar, which is now called by David Kollar, rebranded. And I'll tell you why after.
There's another David Kollar, eh? Guitarist?
Yeah, bro. If you
Slovakian?
Google David Kollar, we never competing for.
I know. I noticed that.
Top hits.
He has DavidKollar.com.
Yeah,
David Kollar.
I've been trying to get DavidKollar.com off him.
So David Kollar, if you're out there, we want our website back.
Yeah, man.
The real David Kollar
for a minute.
Wants his website back.
You know what's funny? He's Slovakian too.
I know he is.
We're both fucking competing, bro.
You should just start playing guitar.
I might have to.
And just knock him out.
Yeah. But so back to your question, I guess like when I first started, I think my thing is I've always been like this. I love like little details. Like certain fabrics you use or the way it fits or like using things that are not usually supposed to be used on something. Let's say like a puffer jacket. I don't really see like a denim puffer jacket. So what if I did a denim puffer jacket? Like stuff like that is how I would think. And I design backwards. Before I design, I look at fabric first, and then I design after. So for example, that shirt you're wearing, obviously there's a lot of crochets out there. This one's more about the fit, but like maybe like I can make a denim crochet or something, not crochet, but resort shirt. But like I just try to think outside the box.
And crochet means what?
Crochet is basically like knitted.
Okay, cool.
The way it's knitted, it's like a granny knitted it.
Yeah, right? I like it. It's a see-through and stuff.
Yeah. You see like your muscles are through it. Thanks, it's a good shirt, you know.
Passing me.
But yeah, so basically like what I did to kind of do collar was, I think the first thing is I was so obsessed with trying to, it actually started by me being insecure. That's how the brand started.
Okay.
To be honest, like now that I'm older, I can say that. Before I probably didn't think that. I was like trying to be cool, but now I think I started because number one, I was really broke. No one like took me serious. I would see older guys in Toronto that I looked up to that were like the man. I'm like, oh man, he gets into clubs for free. He gets to do this. And at the time I thought that's what I wanted. It was cool, right? And so I said to myself, okay, I need to throw the sickest and the best parties. I need to be in the best stores. I need to get the best celebrities to wear it. And then I just kind of worked backwards. So how do I start that? So then I first start with like, okay, I know a promoter. I'm going to start working with a guy named David Kollar back then. And he was a promoter for different clubs. So then he starts putting my logos on different clubs. That's how we first started. It was like back in the day. And then I started figuring out what the best shop was. At the time on Queen Street, there's a shop called Get Fresh Company. So I was like, okay, I want to put my stuff in there. He ended up selling close to $1 million worth of denim in 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah, of just collar denim. He was one of my biggest stores. And he's now like, so basically like, that's kind of how I kind of started the brand. And then instead of e-commerce, I kind of worked backwards. Back then, now it's about e-commerce. Back then, it was about what stores you were in. Yeah. So then I was like, there's a trade show called Liberty Fairs that I used to go to, and all the stores went to these trade shows. So I saved up my money from the web design company, made a few pieces. I went to the trade show, but unlike everyone else who just standing, it was funny because I even had like, there was all the biggest brands in the world were there. We're talking about like Levi's, Represent, everyone. And so a lot of brands would just kind of sit there and just kind of like stand. And for me, I was like, okay, I had a lot of sales experience. I told you I worked 20 different jobs. So I didn't know, I was just make appointments beforehand. So I went there, all the stores were walking by. I'm like, hey, come check out my stuff. Like, no, I got an appointment. I'm good. So I'm like, shit, like I can't get these stores. So basically I was like, okay, I can't waste my money. This is all the money I've saved up. I need to make some money here. So what I did was there's a wristband. I would hide the wristband. I'd wear like a long sleeve. And the wristband shows that you're a seller. And the buyers have a necklace with the store name. So I would hide it and act like a buyer myself. And I'll walk down the aisle and I'll be like, hey, like, I like your fit. Just something like compliment something. Yeah. Even if I like it or not, I'm just going to say I like your fit, right? And then we start talking, like, oh, where are you from? We start conversating, build rapport. And after a little bit of talking, I'm like, yo, like, you know, we should connect. Like, yeah, okay, like, I'm actually at the booth over here. So now I've got him off guard. Because if I showed my wristband, he would have talked to me way differently. Because he's like, oh, he's just trying to get me to get in his booth. Yes. But I built the rapport without him judging me. Once I built the rapport, I was like, look, come to my booth. I have some stuff I would love to show you. Plus, I have some liquor. I'll give you some shots. So now I can be a little tipsy while buying clothes. So it's like a 2-in-1 deal for him. And then once I got him in the booth, I was able to sell like to 15, 20 retailers. And then I started doing that every year until I got into like close to 150 stores. Wow. Yeah. And then when I got into the stores, that's how I built my name for the brand. Because what happens when you get into the store, they have, let's say, 1,000 customers that trust them. They go to that store because they love that store. And that salesman's going like, yo, check out this new brand Kollar. Then they get add me on Instagram, follow me on my website. And then all of a sudden, all these random places in the US and Japan started knowing what my brand is. And that's how I scaled it before ads. And then when I got into ads, that's a whole nother game, right? Yeah. But that's how like it started, yeah.
And I think you've built an incredible brand.
Thanks, bro.
Right?
Yeah.
For yourself too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like we were just talking with before about the, you know, different clothing lines and some of the guys who created them like themselves. They have their own brand and image, which helps sells the clothing, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So you have the image and the brand, like you know, you're behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like that artistic side of you speaks through the clothing, you know?
True. Okay,
so like you've done an incredible job at the brand building.
Appreciate that,
so
man.
what can you share about brand building? Like what are some key things you mean? Because I mean like branding now, is probably one of the most important things that anyone can do as an entrepreneur.
Oh, 100%.
Is having a proper brand. Personal too, on top of your company. Because it all feeds into each other.
Yeah.
You know? So like what are some key takeaways maybe people could take away about branding?
I'm trying to think here. I think for me, I guess the good thing about branding is like you can always recreate yourself. Like I've seen so many people like get into different business and they've rebranded their entire Instagram to something else. I think number one for branding is if it comes to video editing, because right now everything's about video editing, right? It's like the reels you post. You need to create your own style on your videos that everyone can say it's your style. For example, Alex Hormozi created his way of editing with all the text flipping and the coloring. That's his style. So when people like see his style, like, oh, that's Alex Hormozi's video style. And that's why he blew up so quick. So that's a good example. So for branding, if you can figure out a way to tell your story, for example, even for you, I was talking to someone that knew you, and she told me that I really like Matt's content because he puts comedy into his real estate stuff. Your videos are sick. I've seen your videos. So like, I've never really seen a lot of people do that. So that if you keep doing that and some of the videos go viral, like other people are going to copy you and you could be one of the originators. And that's how you become number one in branding, I think. You got to create your own style. You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, there's trends for branding. So like, you know, for Instagram, there was like really dark images back then. Like everyone wanted everything dark on their story and their posts. And then at one point, there's all about bright filters on your Instagram. So it's like a phase. So like based on what the trend is, how do you make that trend cool? And that's like fashion too. How do you make that trend cool? When I design, I take a trend, how do I make it different? So with branding, I would say the same thing. Like figure out the style you want to do. And like for example, my personal brand, I don't post every day. Yeah. But when I post,
I feel like those days are gone.
Yeah, I think those days are gone. But I think posting stories and like getting people engaged in your life, that helps a lot. I think that's huge. And then lastly, like, what is it? There's a company I actually own called Scale That Product. Yeah. And it teaches people how to start a fashion brand. Yeah. Gonna quickly plug that in real quick. Might as well. Scale your product. Scale the product. And so basically that one, I started that one around 6 months ago. I'm at 45,000 followers and it's through all organic. Yeah. And my videos get up to 400,000 views. And
what kind of videos are these?
It's just like little hacks on how to start a fashion brand.
Is it the ads I see of you pulling up in the car?
Oh yeah, so those ads are more like just to get people on the website. Yeah. But I'm talking about like posting on a daily basis on my actual Scale That Product Instagram. Yeah. And using certain apps like ManyChat, for example, and getting people to comment. That thing brings Instagram algorithm thinks that you have like a lot of engagement through that text, that comment. And they bring that video higher. So all my videos only get thousands now. And only gets like my highest video is like 400,000, I think. But one thing I've learned is that if you post consistently and you use that app together, you get pretty viral.
What app is this?
ManyChat.
What does that do?
So basically, for example, I'll post a video, right? It's like a quick, what is it called? Like a quick video is like 30 seconds, right? So 30 seconds. And then after that, you do a call to action. Hey, if you want to learn more, click my bio. But what I do is comment class, and ManyChat will automatically go in, comment back, hey, I just DM'd you. And you can have like 100 different DMs. So it's random. And then when they DM, you send them a link to your, let's say, website or to your whatever. Yeah. And they're commenting because they want something from you.
These are real people?
Real
on
people.
ManyChat?
No. So I don't know if I explained that properly, but like, okay, for example, you go on my page. Yeah. Well, let's use you for example. Yeah, okay. You have a real estate company, right? Okay, let's just say Matt as a brand. You post a video. Let's say you post your comedy video. And you post your video, and then at the end of it, be like, if you guys want a free sheet on how to, where the best areas to invest in right now, comment Kollar, let's say, right? And basically, anyone who comments Kollar now, instead of you DMing them and replying, it's going to take too long. The app knows when someone comments Kollar, and it's going to reply back in the comment section and say, hey, just DM'd you something. And each one is randomized in different times. And then in the actual message box, what happens is you would send them a link where they have to sign up for a newsletter. Then they get your PDF. So you capture their data. You get more viral videos now through the comments. And now you're able to get their data to give them something in return. And maybe in return, you might be able to coach some of them because you have their email, etc. So that's kind of like the funnel you create. But like Instagram sees it as a popular video because they see all these comments.
Yeah.
But really, it's because they want something from you.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And you built a really good community now. You're using school, right?
Yeah,
So
school.
are you teaching? That's part of Scale That Product.
Yeah.
The
Right
school
now, yeah.
program,
School,
and school is big right now. Hermosi's behind it.
Yeah. I just saw he's behind it now, which is huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
I think so. Communities.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. It's like we're all growing through this phase of figuring out the social world.
Yeah.
You know, it's like now the branding is huge.
Right.
Then you have these influencers online, and people are creating these big brands. But it's like, how are you monetizing? So unless you have a product, like how are you really monetizing?
Right.
So I think a lot of people now are figuring out, okay, how do we monetize this now? And the community.
Yeah.
Some people have built crazy communities that they can now monetize.
Exactly.
How do you build, like, what do you think are some keys to building a community that's engaged, that trusts you, and that like wants to see what you're up to?
Yeah.
You know, like,
honestly, that's a really good question. I think for me, in the beginning, don't try to get anything from anyone when you build a community. Just be authentic and just focus on a niche that you know a lot of information about, where people can trust you, and give a lot of free game. Do it for like 3-6 months. And once you build up your following and people know that you're not selling something, you're not trying to get nothing, you're just trying to teach people stuff, they trust you. Now when you come with your first product, they're all jumping on because they already trust you. I feel like that's a good way to build a community. If I do it all over, that's what I would do. I'll just make, like, even me, like, I make content in 1 day or 2 days. 1 day, I have a team that does research on the most viral videos. They send it back to me. I would review it, and then I would see how I can make my own viral videos that's similar. Because the reason is everything I do, even business, I look at someone that's already done something and has made millions from it, or is already viral.
Who are you looking at?
I can't tell you, bro. You can take my idea.
I will. I'm gonna ask you again after.
Okay, after. but basically, like, so I work backwards. I look at who's doing really well, and then I'm like, how do I enter that market and be better or be different, right?
Yeah.
And so basically, once I kind of figured that out, I would go and work backwards. So same with the viral videos, right? You want to find someone that's doing really well. So I find the information I want, and then I make my own version of it, and then I'll film everything in 1 day, and I'll get my video editor to cut it up, and he'll post it for me. So now I did 2 days worth of work, and it's gonna be 30 days worth of content.
Yeah.
Right. And then as long as you're posting every day, it's just a matter of time before one of the things go viral. And then even building a community, if you do free Zoom calls, teaching free game, and by them giving up their emails, the most important thing though, building a community is getting their emails.
Yeah,
Capturing it. But that's how I usually would build a community. Like that's the best way. It's obviously different for a fashion brand. That's more about like creating an event, a pop-up shop, etc. But personal branding, I think just giving out free content in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely huge right now. Everyone's kind of trying to figure out, you know, trying to sell a course here, be a coach here, you know, it's but not everyone can do it.
It's true.
Like most can't do it.
It's kind of tough like, still if you don't know what you're like selling.
Yeah, because they just didn't brand themselves properly.
Right. Okay.
Right? So it's like, why am I going to buy a course from this guy or girl, you know?
Yeah.
It's just an interesting thing that's happening right now. Everyone's just trying to do this thing, but it's.
That's actually interesting now I think about it, because like a lot of people are trying to be a coach, but they're not meant to be a coach.
Yeah.
They're just doing it because it's trendy.
But they haven't built up that
following.
Yeah, or that credibility, I would say.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's why you just got to get free game and like learn your craft and just don't expect anything in the beginning, I guess. Because a lot of people expect money right from the beginning. Especially with drop shipping. I see so many coaches on drop shipping, like taking screenshots. I don't know if they're real or not, but they take screenshots like, oh, I made this guy this much money. And like a lot of them don't even have a drop shipping brand. They're just teaching how to do drop shipping because they learned it from someone else.
Yeah.
And they're not actually doing it.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches aren't doing what they're doing.
It's a very interesting world to navigate right now.
Yeah.
So it's, people who do stand out like yourself, it says something. You know what I mean?
Appreciate that, man.
And I do. So I've unpacked the business side of you.
Okay.
I want to quickly unpack the mindset side of David.
Okay.
And jump into the injury you had.
Oh, yeah.
That put you out bedridden for what, 8 months, you said?
Yeah, like 8 months.
I know you did a lot of deep diving. I know you did some Joe Dispenza stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I saw you in the grocery store or something. You mentioned you're doing some Joe Dispenza work and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, like I want to unpack that side of you because obviously it ties, it's hand in hand with the business.
Mm-hmm.
You can have, if you don't have that self-belief or that confidence or your ways of manifesting, it's hard to really materialize what you really want,
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer in that. That's why I preach that shit.
Sick.
But yeah, I'd love for you to talk to us about that time in your life, because that's probably what, maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, one of your lowest.
Yeah, for sure it was. So trying to see how I can compress this the best way. I have ADHD, so sometimes I'll like talk too long. I'm trying to compress
just
this.
do it in like 10 seconds.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
No, but so to be honest, like it came out of nowhere. I pretty much I just finished New York Fashion Week. I was like the highest I could be in my career.
Mm-hmm.
Like my clothing was selling out everywhere. I just finished New York Fashion Week. I felt like on top of the world. And then COVID happened. And when COVID happened, I started the mask company. I made a lot of money from that. And so like I was making money, like I was like printing money like it was nothing. It was so easy. I was like, I could literally do anything and make money. Like I guess my confidence was so high. But you know what? Sometimes you get so high, God or the universe sometimes push you back down.
Yeah.
And I felt like top of the world, like, I just had an ego back then and stuff like that. And basically what happened is, not to go too deep, because I usually go too deep with these podcasts, but I remember I was praying. I was like praying to God. I'm like, listen, like I have all this money that you've made me and like all the things I wanted in life, like everything I wanted, but I still feel empty. Like I don't feel like fulfilled, And I would just pray to God and be like, if you like, I hope like you can show me more, because I don't know what there is. And I learn everything the hard way. I got to experience something before I actually believe it, right? Or like want to change. I can't just change because you told me something. It's hard for me. So what had happened is, right when COVID happened, mask thing kind of happened in 2021. COVID already passed a little bit, still going on. I went to California, San Diego. I was riding my bike and everything was good. I was doing like hill runs and I was putting sandbags on my neck. I was trying to be like The Rock or Batista, trying to get big, for no reason,
Yeah.
But I was going hard, but I had no form. I'm the worst with workout forms.
Okay.
Like when I work out, my boys I think I just got lucky, because I'm half Slovakian.
Mm-hmm.
I think my dad had a big chest. So even in high school, I just did fucking bench every day.
Yeah.
So I just had a big chest.
Yeah.
And I would work out with no form and get a huge chest that way. And so I was blessed in that way. But the problem is when you have no form, you're doing things wrong and you can hurt yourself. And so I was doing a 3-hour bike ride from Toronto to Oakville every day.
Wow.
For no reason. Fasted. And 1 bottle of water, like maybe something like this. And I didn't think much of it. Come home every single day, Peloton for an hour, 3-hour bike ride, and a 2-hour workout. So like a 5-hour day. That's how bored I was at the time during COVID. So I was doing that. But all of a sudden, one day my phone died, lost connection to GPS, and I was riding for like 4 or 5 hours. Couldn't feel my hand. Felt all weird. Went home. Brother's like, oh, stop being a pussy. Like, you just got to stretch it out. I'm like, all right. So stretch it out. Next day, woke up. I couldn't feel both my arms. They felt like weird, like numbing. Like it literally felt like, when you sleep on your arm?
Yeah.
It felt like that. And I was like, okay, I've had injuries. I just play sports. So I'm like, okay, whatever. It's not a big deal. Next thing you know, I couldn't walk or get up. My whole back was hurting. I'm like, fuck, I don't know what's wrong with me. Then I go to physio next door. He's like, yeah, you got a pinched nerve. You're good. Let me massage you, blah, blah. Month later, I'm like, man, I don't feel good. Like I'm feeling weaker and like I don't feel right. Like even my brain and like my mind was foggy. Like something was up. And so I went to get an MRI and I was able to get one. And it messed me up even more. I got an MRI done. Out of nowhere, I left the MRI room and I had like a weird dizzy feel. I didn't think much of it. I went home and then I woke up and my ex-girlfriend at the time, I heard a ringing noise in my ear. It's called tinnitus. That's what it's called, right?
Okay.
But I got tinnitus, which I've never had. And I'm around loud music all the time. I used to be in clubs all the time. And it was like this ringing noise. I'm like, what the fuck? And so I hear this ringing noise. And then I call my ex-girlfriend over. I'm like, do you hear that? She's like, no, I don't hear anything. I'm like, what? Really? She's like, yeah. So I'm tripping out. I'm like, I'm going crazy, I think. And, I started getting a little anxiety from it. I couldn't turn it off. And I went to go to the bathroom. Take a piss, whatever. Flush the toilet. And I was like, whoa, that shit's so loud. And I started holding my ears like that. And I didn't know why I was holding my ears. And then someone made a joke and I started laughing. And my own laugh would hurt my ears. And then me biting on something would hurt my ears because it's so close to my ears. I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with me? So I go to a hearing doctor while I'm waiting for my MRI results. She's like, your hearing's perfect. I'm like, what about that ringing noise? She's like, oh, maybe it's an MRI. We'll go away in a couple weeks. Expedite to 6 months. It's getting worse. I can't leave my house because the sound is so loud. The sound of traffic is so loud.
Wow.
I can't laugh anymore. I haven't laughed for like 8 months before because laughing would hurt me, bro.
Holy.
Like when you ask for something, God takes everything away until you learn the hard way.
Wow.
I got taken, bro.
Yeah, that's
everything went to shit pretty much. Like, okay, so based the ear, and I could care less about my brand at the time. I was like suicidal, like sad. Like I was like fucking, like I didn't want to live because I couldn't go outside. The sound was too loud. I could only go outside at 3 a.m.
You couldn't even laugh.
I couldn't laugh, bro.
That's crazy.
If you made a joke right now, I'd probably punch you because it would hurt. No,
it's good we didn't hang out because I probably would have made you laugh a lot.
Yeah, you're a funny guy. No, I'm joking, but no, I'm serious. But like, like it literally would burn my ears. And so I'm going through my back injury still. Then I go to doctors. And she gives me the results. It's like, you have a herniated disc in your neck and it hit your spinal cord. It leaked out, hit your spinal cord, and it damaged both your nerves in your hands and your spine. I'm like, okay, so how do I fix that? She's like, you might not be able to fix it. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, like you might. I'm like, when can I start running and working out again? Because that's what I like to do. It's like, you might not be able to do that. I'm like, what? And then she's like, yeah, you have herniated disc in your neck. You have herniated disc in your lower back. And I'm like, how did I get it? She's like, I don't know. And to this day, I still don't know how I got it. Yeah. Maybe over the years, I did like Muay Thai and like certain things, but like it just overall, it happened. And then my hands started twitching on its own. It started moving. And I couldn't control my hands. Things started twitching. And then next thing you know, I was like freaking out. And I go to, I didn't want to live at this point. I'm like, I lost everything. This life I had felt like a dream. Like I was out having fun. I was watching people's stories and I would get jealous. I'm like, I'm in bed. I can't go outside. I can't laugh. I can't talk to anyone. Some of the friends I used to chill with, I didn't really chill with them that much because they didn't hit me up anymore because I was injured. They were only around me because I had clout at the time. Yeah. So then people that I didn't care about, they would come into my life and like be like, yo, you good? I'm like, damn, like these are my real friends I never really like take care of, right? So anyways, when that happened, I think, whatever you believe in, universe or God, pretty much took everything away, took my brand. At the time, I stopped caring about Kollar. That's why for like 2 years, I was really inactive with Kollar. Like I stopped dropping stuff. That website never got updated. I was less active on Instagram. I was literally just trying to heal. Mm-hmm. And I thought maybe after a year I'll get better, and I didn't. Everything was the same. And my ears didn't get better. So that was okay. Just like how I am as an entrepreneur, I had to go seek things to heal myself. So I went to a Facebook group and I bought a projector. I put it into the ceiling and I like just research on the computer.
Holy man.
Yeah. I couldn't move my hands properly. So I could only do this because even reading a book in bed would hurt my whole neck. So I couldn't do that. So when I would just read all day about regenerative medicine and like learning about how to heal yourself because medicine was working. My doctor was just like, you're never going to get better. Here are some pills, pop them. Yeah. Painkillers. Classic. And I'm not going to try to take painkillers. I'm at this point in my life. So anyways, long story short, I go into research and I do every method. So regenerative medicine, then meditation. I hear about Joe Dispenza getting hit by a bike, being paralyzed, healed himself through meditation. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm going to try something like that. So I book a one-way flight to Colorado and I go see Joe Dispenza. And I usually never do anything like that. And I got really spiritual because when you're in that low in your life, you realize that, nothing else really mattered in your life. It doesn't matter how much money you made or how much friends you have or what parties you went to or what's coming up the next day or next vacation because you can't do any of it. You're pretty much dead. And everything else is a memory. and you're like, damn, like I took everything for granted.
Yeah.
I took it for granted, bro. And I guess like I asked for a better, like that I guess I asked
You
for
asked for meaning.
I asked for meaning, bro. He
Yeah.
gave me meaning to
Yeah.
the deepest level.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, and I was in
That's
bed.
crazy.
Yeah, I was in bed. But anyways, long story short, I ended up getting into regenerative medicine. So I did stem cells in Mexico with a doctor, Dr. Khan. I did PRP with a doctor, Dr. Gupta and Dr. Khan. And during it, I'm kind of paranoid person, so I wouldn't just do stem cells or PRP. And I did research for over 2 years, reading books. I actually interviewed people that were healed on Facebook groups, and I would follow their journey, just like kind of doing a survey. And I interviewed probably like close to 30 people, and some of them were healed, some weren't. And I'm like, okay, the numbers here make sense to me, so I'm gonna go do it. I look at the side effects, obviously, and I said after 2 years, if I don't feel better, I'm gonna do it. So then I ended up doing it. And then for my ears, I saw this doctor in Europe, and he pretty much gave me this machine. I don't have to wear them anymore, but like before when I was training it, basically like, you know, when you brush your teeth with your right hand, let's say you're right-handed, to brush your teeth with your left hand is super hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, not for you. You're probably talented. You can do
No, it's
both
left brain,
hands.
right brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, like that ringing noise wouldn't go away. So the doctor's like, okay, you got to train your brain because it's coming from your brain. It's not coming from your ears. So when I went to bed, I would turn on a white noise and I have to make it a little bit louder in my ears. And then I wear these hidden implants in my ears, some like alien next level stuff, where it'd have a noise that's slightly louder than my tinnitus. And it would protect me so I can start going to restaurants again. So noises would go in my ears and wouldn't hurt me. And just that alone, I felt blessed. Because before, I didn't know what it was like to go to a restaurant, go for a walk, hang out with your friends again.
Yeah,
I pretty much had to start over. So I
Yeah.
lost my business. I lost my health. I lost my confidence. He took me right to the, like, I started like doubting myself. Like, maybe I'm not cut out to be an entrepreneur. Maybe like he took everything away where I had to restart and be humble again. And to this day, it sat with me because I just think about that feeling of being in that position and I never take anything for granted now. And it's almost a blessing now. Anytime I feel too up, I'll think about that. Or every time I'm too stressed, I'll think about that. I'm like, nothing actually is that stressful because I have my health. So that's what happened, yeah. And I've healed my ears through.
A lot of gratitude, eh?
Yeah, for sure, bro.
Wow. That's a crazy story, man.
Yeah. That's recent, yeah.
Yo, be careful what you pray for.
Yeah, that's the story here. Be careful what you pray for, bro.
Yeah.
But like, it's funny because at the time I was praying.
It's a blessing in a really shitty disguise, but
yeah.
but
But it's, you know what's crazy? I prayed for meaning. He gave me meaning, but during that, I started praying like, why me? Why did you give me all this? I didn't put 2 and 2 together till later. And it was crazy because I'm not sure if you're into this stuff, but like at the time, yeah, you are, yeah. At the time, I bought these like, I didn't know how to like, I just like meditated a lot, but I didn't know how to like be more spiritual. So like I got into like buying like these tarot cards.
Okay.
And I would ask questions, these angel questions, like things, and I would put like, why is this happening to me? And I always pull the same card. It's like you don't know why this happened. It's like basically the meaning behind it was like you don't know why, but just keep riding through it. And like I'm able to do things I love now, and not fuck up my health over it. Because before I was like grind. I'll work 18, 20 hours, and now I'm like I'll grind. There's some days I'll still do those hours.
Yeah.
But as soon as I know like it's affecting my mental state, I'll chill right away.
Yeah.
I'll like take a vacation, or I'll do something for myself. But like I know how to gauge it now. Whereas before, I didn't care about it. I was like, I'll just work for like a month and I'll take a vacation later. But now like I'll gauge it. Cause then a day, you know, we all die, so it doesn't matter. Really.
Yeah. No, that's powerful, man. I think that's really powerful because a lot of us get really like we need to
as entrepreneurs, you know,
we need to grind, no chilling, no relaxing. You know, I suffer from that.
Yeah.
I mean,
does,
although
bro.
lately, you know, been definitely traveling a lot more.
Yes, your Instagram
we were
stories.
just in Tulum together too.
Yeah.
But yeah, you would never think, man. You would never know. Like
you never know.
Like
right?
I've known you a little before then and during and now, but even if you just see you now, like you're once again absolutely crushing it.
Thanks, bro.
You're happy. You're light.
Yeah.
You're like floating. You're floating, you know, but like
more light
but
than
crushing.
before. Yeah, before I think not that like I was still the same person, but like I was like very like I was very like big headed a little bit because you get like that with in the fashion industry. But like now I don't take anything too serious.
It's amazing.
Everything's kind of a joke now.
And just quickly, I won't dive into this too much, but did you meet Joe Dispenza personally?
Yeah. So I didn't meet him because there was like probably like
It was like a retreat?
a retreat.
Oh,
Yeah.
no,
There's
so it was-
5,000 people.
Would you recommend that?
100%.
I hear such good things.
Yo, it's good. But like,
Yeah.
it's crazy because I met people there that had cancer and some
Okay.
crazy shit, and they said they got better.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you a crazy story from it though, if you
Okay.
want to know.
Yeah, sure.
So I went to the meditation, and he did this deep meditation. It was 3 days, literally like 8-hour days of meditating. It's crazy. And at one point, we meditated so deep, my body went to sleep, but my mind was still awake. So I was drooling. I could feel the drooling coming down. And he's like, that's normal. I started drooling, like I was like this. And I wasn't on any drugs or anything. I was drooling. And
You're on life.
I was on life, bro. And then I literally left my body and I was meditating. And he says, if you listen to Joe Dispenza, a lot of people like heal themselves or even attract wealth, attract certain things. It's not just health, it's money too. If you can meditate that deep where you leave your body and you can actually trick your body to think it's in a different situation. That's what it is. So I used to leave my body when I meditate. It only happened a few times. I would meditate so hard, it'd be like an hour and a half meditation, like a long meditation. I'll leave my body almost, and I'll be like in a different dimension or something. I don't know how to describe it. It's very hard to describe. And I was like fully healed. Like I was running, I was doing stuff, and I saw myself that way. And my body, when I came back into my body, I actually felt the same feelings, even though I wasn't healed yet.
Yeah.
But my body tricked itself to think that. And the more you think about it, the more your body tries to heal itself.
Yeah.
That's how it kind of works.
That's exactly how it works.
Same with the whole like manifestation, same shit. Like if you sit down.
That future you.
Yeah, bro. And it's
feelings.
hard. Especially when
It is hard.
when you're just living life, bro.
Yeah, man, it's hard.
Bad shit's happening. You can't imagine it.
It's hard to sit there for, let me take an hour and a half out of my day and just go deep,
you want to go.
It's
Especially
hard.
entrepreneur. You want to
Yeah.
go, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, amazing. That's a great story, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. By the way, how'd you get into like entrepreneurship? I mean, like real estate.
You want to do a podcast with me now? Yeah. That's a whole podcast, buddy.
Okay, we'll save it.
Same idea though, bro. Just no ceiling, and I wanted to just
Good for you, bro.
crush life, and now pivoting to so many. We're the same.
Yeah.
Very similar. We all are. So we have a solid group.
Exactly.
I want to do a quick little rapid fire with you,
All right,
and we're gonna end it off here. Okay?
All right, go.
What's your favorite clothing brand?
Clothing brand?
Favorite clothing brand
My brand. Come on. I'm kidding. I'm joking now.
besides Collar?
I would say, honestly, probably like Represent. They're
Okay.
Crushing it. They're just crushing it, bro.
Cool.
I really look up to them. Yeah.
Cool. What's the most important skill you have that's gotten you to where you're at?
I'm really fast at thinking on the spot if I need to, and then I guess second is I can adapt pretty quick to different situations.
Mm-hmm.
So like if there's a problem, there's always a solution. There's never not a solution for me.
Yeah.
I always find a solution.
That's awesome. It's a good trait to have.
Yeah.
Best piece of advice you've ever received?
I remember when I was a balloon decorator, I went up to this guy. I'm like, yo, how'd you live in this big ass house? How do you make all this money? He's like, you can only make this much money when you're ready for it. I'm like, what does that even mean? He's like, a lot of people want to make millions, but they're not ready for it. And then I didn't really understand. He left it there, and I kept thinking about it, and I realized what it is. When you're ready for $1 million, it means the lifestyle changes you've made, the way what you read, how you sleep, how you think, who you hang out with. Those are the things that make you ready to be a millionaire. Yeah.
Yo, it's so cool. It's so true.
Right? Yeah, right? You have to be ready, bro. You can't just sit down and make $1 million.
And things just how,
it's how you change your life, bro. Yeah.
I can resonate.
Yeah.
What was your biggest failure and how did you overcome it?
I think my biggest failure was I was kind of like hard-headed. If someone told me I couldn't do something, I would want to do it. But that's also bad because when I had employees, there's certain people that tell me, you shouldn't make that collab with that person because I don't think it's right for the brand. And sometimes my ego get in the way. I'm like, nah, I think it's sick. I want to do it. Let's do it. And then maybe it end up being a flop. So like now, when I make a decision, I would sleep a day on it.
Yeah.
And then when I wake up, it feels right. I'll do it. But otherwise, that's like a failure. Like I would always make decisions too quick.
Me too.
You too?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an ADHD thing maybe. I don't know.
And last one, if you can go back, travel back in time, you go to David in his room, in bed,
How old?
not being able to hear laughter, not being able to laugh,
Don't laugh, yeah.
not being able to read.
Yeah.
Essentially the lowest point of his life. You go in, you see that David in bed. What would you tell him?
I'd be like, damn, that's a good one, bro. Let me think. I would probably be like, enjoy this alone time and get as deep as you can right now, because everything in life will pass, including this injury. And you might not believe it, but if you can get through this and you get over it, everything else going forward is going to be easy. Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah.
Now we're on the easy ride.
Yeah, bro.
That's it.
Let's go to Tulum soon, huh?
I'm down. You don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell me twice. Not even once. I'm actually booking a flight right now.
Let's
in
go.
my mind. Manifesting it. But thank you, man.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. Quick plug. Where can they find you?
Yeah, so Instagram, David Kollar, DavidKollar. And then the brand is BYDavidKollar. And then I also have a skincare company called Mr. Skin, which is MSTR Skin. Not the porn site. If you Google Mr. Skin, it's
Holy.
And then lastly, if you want to learn how to scale your fashion brand, sometimes I do coaching and help other people. And if you want to learn that, just go to Scale That Product on Instagram. I think those are, and my other business doesn't matter right now.
He's got a lot. Just find David.
Just find me, yeah.
And find what he does.
Yeah.
But thank you guys, as always, for tuning in. You guys are awesome. This was awesome. This was great. Hope you guys got a lot of value out of this, because I did. Hope at least a couple of you are inspired out there.
Yeah.
And feel free to reach out to me at any time. You guys know that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. If you think someone will really like this or needs to hear this, send it to them. Don't waste time. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.